Hey, and welcome to episode 53 of Think Like a Hacker. We are in St. Louis for WordCamp US 2019, and for a change, we're actually here in person, which I'm super stoked about.
Yes, definitely good to see you.
We actually have a real conversation for a change.
Yes.
And this is the Halloween episode. And we actually have horror stories, right, of some things going wrong with certain people, and we also have the amazing things that are happening at WordCamp US, so get ready for a scary but awesome show. Okay, episode 53, Think Like a Hacker, here we go. So you said that's McDonald's?
Yeah, we're at the world's largest McDonald's here in St. Louis.
I don't know if that's offensive or not, like to
It is, you know, on Slack I changed my little icon with a McDonald's icon, and our native St. Louian, I guess that's what you call them, Hillary, who's from here, corrected me. There's only one arch, and it is not gold or yellow.
Yes. And have you seen the new WAPU?
I have.
Yeah,
it's
based on the Cardinals.
Yeah.
It's got like wings and stuff like that, and it's actually I read right before we started rolling like where the Cardinals, I guess, name and color comes from. Did you hear that story?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so it was some journalist overheard. So the team got transferred in like 1899.
Okay.
And they got a new uniform, and it had this new color on it. And someone in the crowd, a journalist, overheard her say, "Oh, that's a nice shade of cardinal," which is like a bird.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that's where the color name comes from. And so the journalist kind of latched onto it and nicknamed them the Cardinals, and that's where the name comes from. But we have a cardinal WAPU, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out because it's actually quite adorable.
Yeah, it is cute.
It's like feathery and cardinal colored. So, all right, let's dive straight in here. So we're going to focus on WordCamp US this episode, and we have some amazing I was like talkers. We have some amazing talks. We have some amazing speakers that are attending. And I guess Jen Swisher she did a really great interview with a local station, right?
Yeah, local news covered, invited Jen to come on to talk about, this is a big deal, I think, for St. Louis, having basically the entire WordPress community descend upon the city and sort of take residence up at the America Center here in downtown St. Louis. So they had her on talking just about, what WordPress is, because I don't know how many people they ask you, what are you traveling for work for? And you say, well, do you know what WordPress is? Yeah. 99% of the time, nobody knows, which is odd because I'm so immersed in the WordPress community. It's so odd to realize that there's so much more to go, so many other people to really turn on to what WordPress can do for them.
That's so funny you mentioned that. I was hanging downstairs with Sean earlier today, and we met a guy who is in the sort of wealth management space. So he's like a banker, I guess. And he, we got chatting, and he has a website. He actually has a podcast, and he hosts the podcast on a website, and he has another website. And we had exactly the same experience. We're here for a WordCamp, WordPress conference. WordPress powers a third of the entire web.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, our site probably runs on that. I'm not really sure, So yeah, in terms of I guess evangelism and getting folks to understand what their site runs on. I'm just repeating what you were saying, but it's exactly that, right? There's so much more awareness to be created.
Yeah. So I am assuming that from just having WordCamp US here in St. Louis, Missouri and Southern Illinois will probably be all abuzz.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool that WordCamp US is a roving conference, that it's not in the same city like Las Vegas, which is really convenient, and I guess really cost effective to have a conference in every year. It's kind of cool that they move it around, even though logistically it's a hell of a challenge.
It is definitely a challenge. I mean, there are destination cities that are geared for sort of convention, like Las Vegas, like Phoenix or Orlando, where there's tons of convention types of hotels and facilities. St. Louis has a great facility here, but it's a smaller town. It's harder for some of our friends who are coming over from Europe to fly directly. There's no direct flights, I think, from like Munich into.
Even from Denver, we were having to
Really?
take like a dog leg on the way back.
Oh,
and
wow.
We took a direct on the way in, so it was a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a challenge for everybody to sort of descend on the city, but it definitely creates a unique experience to come into St. Louis. So.
Yeah. And so behind us here, right now we're in the Four Seasons Hotel, and if you look in Kathy's shot or the wide shot, you can probably see we've got the St. Louis Arch, and we've got the Mississippi behind us.
The Mighty Miss.
And I don't know if I've ever actually seen the Mississippi. I mean,
Really?
I guess I've seen the mouth of the Mississippi down in New Orleans, but I don't know if I've ever actually seen it. But it's really pretty, and we've got a little bit of an overcast day here today. But yeah, so anyway, kind of going back to our lead story, Jen Swisher is she the lead organizer?
She's the lead org, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jen did a great interview with Fox 2 Now, and you can find that in our show notes on it's fox2now.com. There's a video link there, and then they're live streaming it this year.
Yes, there will be a live stream, and if you are watching from home and want to ask questions of any of the presenters, there are special hashtags. We'll add those links to the show notes as well, so if you want to ask questions during an actual talk, there will be people monitoring those hashtags, and they will ask your question, which I think is really fun, because it really brings WordCamp US out to a much wider audience, which is a lot of fun.
For sure. So right now it is Thursday, 2:12 p.m. local time when we're recording this, and Max, the legend, who's standing behind the camera over there, is going to be editing this and putting it out as soon as possible. So we're hoping to get this up by this evening, and you'll hopefully get all the information and our show notes by then, and then you'll be able to live stream it tomorrow and so on. But the live stream link, if you're just listening to this or watching, is 2019.us.wordcamp.org/livestream/. And you can definitely check it out there. And I guess there's this company called WordFence that are doing a few things at WordCamp US.
They may be doing some things.
Yeah, one or two.
A few.
What are they up to?
I should be stressed out right now with all of the stuff that we have going on,
Really?
but I am at ease. You know why?
Right.
Because we have an amazing team of amazing people who've got our back, and they are. Oh, I think I see them now. unloading boxes and getting the booth ready. It's going to be great. We have a huge team actually coming. A lot of people coming from all over the place. We have one of our team members coming in from Australia. So if you are here at WordCamp US and want to talk security, pick locks, have some fun with some really amazing people, WordFence booth is going to be hopping.
Okay,
That's
so
my prediction.
I'm going to try to just enumerate some of them.
Okay.
So Hillary, first of all, big shout out. She's from St. Louis.
Yes.
And Hillary is our office manager, and will she be on the booth, do you think?
She is going to be sort of like, I don't think she'll
Doing
be
a lot
at
of
the booth.
logistics,
She'll be doing a lot of logistics,
Okay.
and we have something special happening on Saturday, and she's focused on that.
Yeah. So we have a certain party for a certain film happening on Saturday, and Hillary has been like a driving force behind that, along with Kathy. The two of them have been absolute legends. And we checked out the venue yesterday, and it's awesome. So we got Matt Barry coming out from Maine. Matt is our lead developer, the one and only, and he wrote the WordFence Firewall, the original version. And Matt is working on a very exciting project right now, which I guess I'm wearing that project shirt, but I can't really talk about it. So
You are not allowed to talk.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. All right, but yeah, there's a. But Matt is highly technical and a hell of a nice guy, and he will be at our booth. And if you have a chance to chat with him, Matt is he's a very talented PHP developer. He has experience in other languages as well. He is sort of deep technical roots, but he's also very much a hacker, and he's a very talented. Matt will probably kill me for saying this, but he's a very talented lockpicker and very modest guy. And we go to DEF CON every year, and Matt's very much engaged with CTFs, Capture the Flag contests, and between you and me, he does pretty well. So definitely chat with him.
Can I shout out about Matt's recent vulnerability that he found in the code? God, I can't remember the code. I can't remember the name of the plugin, but anyway, he's doing an audit on the plugins that are on our site.
Right.
And he found a vulnerability.
Was it the syntax highlighter?
Syntax highlighter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Syntax highlighter. And that's used on quite a few sites. It's used on WordPress.com.
Right, yeah. And he actually said in his blog post that it was 40,000 sites, but he didn't count the number of sites that were affected on WordPress.com, which is millions.
Right, so he responsibly disclosed that. He received a bug bounty from Automatic for that, and he did something amazing. That plugin was developed by Alex Mills, who is just a legend in the WordPress community.
And he worked for Automatic.
And he passed away last year from leukemia. And Matt donated that bug bounty to the Alex Mills.
It was actually to the hospital that treated Alex in the last stages of his
and it
disease.
was in honor of Alex that he donated that bug bounty. Matt is Matt is the heart and soul of what ethical hacking is all about. And if you're at WordCamp US and you see Matt Berry at our booth or walking around in a WordFence shirt, thank him for that, because
give him a high five.
Give him a high five.
Matt's a good dude.
He's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So Stephen is coming up from Australia, as you mentioned.
Yes.
And Stephen is, turns out he's a spectacular speaker. Who knew? He's done a bunch of talks in Australia now on hacking and WordPress security and so on. And also highly technical, one of our senior developers. So chat with him, the guy with the Australian accent. And who else is here? Oh, Tim, of course.
Tim
Cantrell is in our customer service team, and he's very well known in the WordPress community. Tim's actually introduced me to a lot of people, including executives from various companies and so on. And he is just, he's also got that underground, the guerrilla swag movement going.
He does.
Yeah. There's like our sort of official swag, and then Tim's swag, and I think the best one I've seen so far is the WordFence homemade soap. That he actually made soap and branded it with like WordFence stamps, and then distributed that to the team, including me.
Amazing.
And I gave that to my parents. It was like one of the scents was myrrh.
Really?
You know, like really exotic stuff.
Wow.
And what is his latest thing? Oh, East Coast Kathy, West Coast.
Yes. There are only two shirts. There is the East Coast Kathy and a West Coast Tim, which the joke is, the joke started because I told Tim I can't go to every WordCamp on my own, so just be East Coast Kathy for me, and I'll take care of the West Coast. I'll be West Coast Tim, and it just kind of
And he branded himself on Twitter as like East Coast Kathy, and then it became West Coast Tim, and now they each have shirts. And so when you see Tim at our booth, ask him about the Guerrilla Swag movement for WordFence. And if you can get him to give you some Guerrilla Swag, I will be very impressed, because that stuff is rare. He makes it in small batches, handmade, artisanal.
Yes, there is a recent, I don't know if I'm allowed to speak it, but there is new swag that he has made, and there are only 2.
Oh my goodness.
So if you can get that out of him.
Right. Well, I'm lucky to get it, so if you get it, one of our listeners gets it. Yeah, cool. All right, so what else have we got going on? Gatsby is sponsoring, and they have a number of people here. Jason, I apologize if I butcher your last name, but Jason Ball and Mohammed Musin are speaking on Friday. And Gatsby has received a lot of funding for building Gatsby and building a system that allows you to publish static websites working with React and so on. Gatsby is still fairly technical, but there's a lot of literature out there on it. The founder of Gatsby is Kyle Matthews, and I think we were saying earlier we'd love to connect with Kyle. So Kyle, if you're here and you happen to see this, give us a shout. But they raised $15 million in Series A, led by CRV. Was it September? I think it was September
very recently,
very recent, yeah. So a lot of kind of investment and energy and love going into Gatsby, and I think static WordPress in general, eh?
Yeah, this whole headless WordPress where all of your content is still in WordPress and still in that database, but what your users are actually interacting with might be something different. So WordPress is sort of the warehouse in which all of your data still resides, because you have this legacy site that you've been using WordPress with for, 15 years. But your users are interacting with WordPress in so many different ways, and we've talked recently about what Salesforce has invested into Automatic and this whole WordPress as a platform idea. So there's some interesting things happening there. So it's really exciting that this static site generation system is showing up at WordCamp US. They've hired Jason Ball, who he started earlier in 2019 working with Gatsby, and they definitely have their sights on extending into the WordPress world. So that's definitely something interesting. It'll be neat to see what comes out of
Ryan
that.
does a lot of thinking about static WordPress, doesn't he?
He does, yes. He was the one that made me do the Gatsby tutorial. Sat down one weekend and
we should try to catch up with Dave. Maybe get him on camera again, because I did an interview with him at Newport, I think it was.
Orange County, yeah.
Orange County, yeah. And that was a great chat, but I'd love to kind of chat with him and see how things have advanced. So we should try to... Hi, Dave.
He's here. We went out for ice cream last night.
Oh, did you? Cool. And then Maddie Osmond, who I connected with on Twitter recently, is she's going to be here and presenting something interesting.
Yeah, she is going to be presenting how to perform a quality usability audit without having to spend a fortune. So she's going to give an actionable process with tool suggestions for people who want to sort of up the game in terms of making your website more user-friendly, easier for customers to kind of find what they need to find on your site. And I think that's going to be a great talk. Who else do we have?
Julie Cool is doing a beginner session, and I must say her bio is epic.
Is it? What does it say?
It's Julie's other passions include cars, Mustangs especially. Julie, you should chat with my wife, Carrie. She's the owner of 3 Mustangs, not currently, but previously. And
really?
Yep, used to leak oil on the freeway and like smoke out the exhaust and the whole thing, but she was on a budget, so couldn't afford the good ones. But Julie's passions include Mustangs, motorcycles, Harley Davidsons, and dive bars, science fiction, blacksmithing, and bagpipes.
I have to meet you, Julie. That sounds so epic.
Yeah, and I think we need to do a bagpipe session on camera, so hopefully you brought your bagpipes, Julie.
She's going to give a talk about, giving you a tour through the WordPress database, which would be really interesting for somebody who's used WordPress a lot in the past but doesn't really understand the mechanics of what happens behind it. That would be really cool for... because I know a lot of people that we work with, people who are just getting started in WordPress, aren't really sure what's going on behind the scenes. They see the admin interface and they hit publish, but what's the mechanics that go behind it?
Yeah.
So that sounds like a fun session.
Yeah, I think it's a really great way to kind of de-intimidate yourself, because I think a lot of folks, just to kind of iterate on what you were saying, are intimidated by what's going on behind the scenes, and the database is very much the core of that. If you're a programmer, the best way to start designing an application is by thinking about data structures. And so I would say the best way to start understanding WordPress is to start understanding the data structures behind WordPress. And then when you look at the code, it becomes much more intuitive, because you'll see a database query that references a certain table and you'll be like, oh yeah, Julie told me about that at WordCamp US.
Yeah.
And now I know what that does. WP comments, for example, or WP posts, I know what goes in there and it's not crazy scary. So
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Who else? We've got Jennifer Bourne, who's one of my favorite people in WordPress.
Yeah.
She's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
She's we got to chat with her at WordCamp Sacramento. She is a dynamo. She basically, and a couple of other people, put on WordCamp Sacramento, and she's done it a number of times, and so she's probably so organized that she's got it all figured out, right? But she is teaching brand messaging 101, how to clearly communicate value and get clients to say yes. That is going to be worth the price of admission times, tenfold. That is going to be an amazing session, I can guarantee it. She's taught Content Camp and just got done doing a retreat in Lake Tahoe, helping women kind of up their game with marketing. She's amazing. So if you are watching from home, get that live stream for sure. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I mean, Jennifer's official bio, it doesn't really capture everything that you just said, but it says 21 years experience as a graphic designer, 14 years experience as a web designer and creative agency owner, and 11 years as a blogger. But I think Kathy's description of Jennifer is much more accurate.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, and then Rhian Kinney, who's a friend of ours from Florida, is here. I've
Yes.
actually never met Rhian. Am I pronouncing her name correctly?
She goes by Ryan.
Ryan. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan.
That's okay.
Yeah.
She'll be fine.
So, like I said, we've never actually met in person, so I always see her on Twitter, and
Yeah.
in my head, I'm mispronouncing her name.
Yeah,
obviously,
we talk
so.
a lot online, but I've only actually had like a couple minute in-person conversation at WordCamp Miami, but it was so busy I never got a chance to really like sit down with her, but we talk a lot online. And you know, she's a lawyer and she works in the content management space, does a lot not only with WordPress community, but also, you know, the other Joomla and other open source movements in Florida, but has been very active with WordPress more than anything. And she's going to be talking about privacy. We're actually sponsoring her, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're taking care of some of her expenses so
Yeah,
that she
that's
can
awesome.
come here
Yeah.
and share what she knows about the California Consumer Privacy Act, which is going to hit
Okay.
enforceability on July 1st of next year.
Oh, wow. So Carrie was telling me about that. She obviously handled the GDPR project that we did. And of course, I'm sure a lot of the folks listening were working for companies that have had to go through a huge shift to be GDPR compliant if you're selling into the European market. And via Carrie, who's our Chief Operating Officer and CFO, I have kind of picked up that we're doing a lot to become compliant in California, and that is coming very, very quickly. That deadline is approaching very quickly.
Yeah. The deadline is coming up quick, and then the actual enforcement is next summer. So now's the time to learn about that. That's another live stream one if you're not here to catch. Actually, if you ever just get a chance to listen to Ryan talk about anything related to WordPress, she's pretty amazing.
Cool. All right, yeah, I'll look forward to that. And I'd love to chat with Ryan as well, since we've never met. So.
Yeah, you'll love her.
I don't know how
She's
to pronounce
amazing.
her name. And then there's this Kathy Zant talking about the
I've
hacker
heard about
mindset
her.
at 3:15 tomorrow. Is it?
Yeah, I've heard about her.
Yeah.
Watch out for that one.
Yeah, I think Sean rented a zoom lens for you. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now I
Show me how
know.
the camera over
Okay.
there.
Well, I've had some coaching to basically block out the whole room, so I'll just
Yeah, I think
block
you're
out
going to do
Sean.
great.
I'm excited about it because it's not, security. I've done a number of security talks. We've talked a lot about security on this podcast. Sometimes security can get a little overwhelming, or dry, or scary. And this is really a talk about getting into the hacker mindset in a way that empowers you, not only in your business and keeping everything safe, but where do you want to go in life? How do you hack yourself out of problems? How do you hack yourself to a life that is designed the way you want it to be? Dun, dun, dun.
I need to catch this. This sounds amazing.
It's going to be great.
Wow. How long do you have?
Well, I'm trying to hit 30 minutes and then 15 for questions, but
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Great. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to it because I haven't seen your slides or anything. So
Yeah,
it
I
sounds
have.
really cool.
I've kind of kept this one to myself, other than walking around my neighborhood, walking my dog, and like talking out loud. My neighbors all think I'm insane.
Yeah.
Talking about hackers. Walking around.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everybody in my neighborhood.
That sounds really interesting. I mean, not to like try to oversell it or something, but you have such an interesting background, because you were kind of an entrepreneur before you joined us. And then when you joined our team, you were you worked with the SST team, cleaning hacked websites, so very hands-on doing forensic work.
Yeah.
And then you progressed via managing our ops team when we kind of needed someone to fill in for that.
Yeah.
And then of course Scott joined, and then you moved into sort of sales and marketing, and now you're our director of marketing. And so you've really run the gamut, in terms of like business and highly technical and the sort of intersection between that. And so. Yeah, I think you have a lot of wisdom to share, and of course that's why you're very senior in our organization.
Well, yeah, hacking is not just about computers. It really is a mindset, and you're hacking marketing, you're hacking systems, you're hacking people, you're hacking the matrix of reality.
Okay, bring it back now. Bring it back. Epic. All right, so 3:15 p.m. tomorrow.
Yep,
local time.
I'm ready.
Yep. All right. Cool. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then a couple of SEO talks.
Yeah, a couple of SEO talks. SEO is obviously a field that is constantly changing, so it's something you have to stay up on. If you think you know SEO from 5 years ago or even 2 years ago, it's probably changed. So Pam Angst is going to talk technical SEO checklist, how to optimize a WordPress site for search engine crawlers. And Rebecca Gill is going to talk about aligning SEO efforts with your target market in today's search, how to perform keyword research and map them to content. So those talks are happening on Friday as well. And then their after party is really kind of a middle of WordCamp party happening tomorrow night at the City Museum. And I have heard that it's going to be a lot of fun. Last year's after party at the Kids Museum was such a riot. This promises to be a lot of fun too. So definitely watch for some cool pictures happening then.
Great. And then I guess there's some yoga with Zach Gordon.
Yeah. Have you met Zach?
No.
Okay. No. Zach does JavaScript for WP.
Okay.
Also big into like the whole Gatsby stuff, but he's also kind of a little bit of a yogi. So very interesting person, really sweet person. And he's going to be teaching yoga on Saturday morning.
That's great.
You going to do it?
I do yoga. I do yoga every morning.
Yeah.
And I did this morning, as usual. And I love yoga. For me, I've never been to a yoga class, and I've been doing yoga for probably like a couple of years now. And I love it, and it completely fixed my back.
Yeah.
I have like one of those spines that does this, and I think yoga made my spine do that.
That's great.
So it's been very kind of restorative for me, and of course it's a meditation. I've never done a yoga class, so Zach, I might just show up. We'll see. I'm a little bit intimidated, I didn't want to do a yoga class because it's just very personal for me, and I'm nervous about someone else's interpretation of yoga, but I think that's just something that I've built up in my head. So maybe I should show up and see what it's about. Sure. When is that? What time?
It's Saturday morning, I think, first thing.
Okay.
But you have to choose between yoga or the game show.
Tough
choice.
Offense to the game show. I might take the yoga.
So the game show is kind of cool because this actually, my first exposure to WordPress game show was at WordCamp Miami, and we participated. WordFence actually sponsored the game show, and so, but everybody left early, so it was like me and Chloe, and so we went to Adam Warner and was like, please help us, we need another team member. So Adam joined, and we actually won.
Oh, no way.
So, yeah.
Nice.
So it was a lot of fun. That picture of Adam and Chloe and I that made it on social media, that was during the game show. And cool. It was a lot of fun. So they're bringing that to WordCamp US, and the kids, David Bissett's kids, I think, are spearheading that, and because he's the one that kind of organized it for Miami. So that'll be a lot of fun. It'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Cool.
Some more sessions happening on Saturday that look interesting too.
Adam's a good guy.
Adam's an awesome.
Such an epic guy. He works for GoDaddy.
Yeah.
And he'll be almost certainly at the GoDaddy booth. Is he doing any talks this?
He's not doing any talks.
Okay.
But
right.
they have a party on Saturday night too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're trying to get him to come to our party, but he has to be at their party.
Yeah.
So
you're only in the film, Adam.
Jeez.
You only have a whole lower
Adam,
third and
it's
everything.
all intimidation. Don't buy any of it. It's okay. I'll protect you from Kathy.
Yeah.
She can get crazy.
We'll save you a shirt.
Cool. And then working with external APIs, is that a talk by Naomi Bush?
Yeah, Naomi Bush, working with WordPress and external APIs. So you have a website, you've got a WordPress website, and you want to pull in data from other places. How the heck does that work? That sounds like a really great class for somebody who's looking to take WordPress to the next level. And then Francesca Morano, who works for SiteGround.
I ran into him and Francesca yesterday. Yeah. She had just done a 17-hour flight from Italy.
Yeah.
And she told me all about it, and it sounds like it wasn't too bad, but it was her and a group of folks that also flew in. Fairly big group, some from Bulgaria and other places, and it was just really cool to see her, and she's in the film as well.
She is in the film, and she's coming to the party, Adam. Sorry, Adam. I love Adam. But yeah, she's going to do a session on writing your first business plan, which I think is anybody who's looking to get into business, anybody who has a website and is looking to make that profitable. A business plan is so critically important to the success of a business. I have started a number of businesses in my life, and the ones that were successful started with a business plan. The ones that just kind of didn't go very far or failed were the ones that did not have a business plan. So I think that is a good class if anybody's never written a business plan before, thinks through all of the different aspects that you should be thinking about when you're planning out what a successful business is about. Don't you think? Plans are good.
Yeah, I mean, if you want my take on it.
Well, you're the renegade, but I like plans.
Yeah, so I mean, one is taught to create a business plan in business school.
Yes.
And I think that's one approach. I think when I was in the phase where I should have written a business plan, what was emerging then was that businesses are very dynamic. And so a business plan can kind of lock your thinking into a certain way of doing things. But this is, back in 2007 or something like that. And so for WordFence, I never wrote a business plan, but I did plan. And I did come up with some basic tenets that I used to shape the business. And so in that sense, I suppose I did have a plan of sorts.
You had a vision, for sure.
It was non-traditional, though.
Yeah.
But I think different things work for different people. And I think perhaps if you're looking for a good generalized approach, a plan can be... it can be helpful to shape your thinking and the direction you want to head. And then I also think it can be really great as a format to... as a kind of a template to do competitive analysis, for example.
Yeah.
And the other things that you need to do to really understand the landscape and, competitors and collaborators and the kind of team that you need and so on. So yeah.
It's kind of one of those types of things where what we were talking about earlier about laws and rules and regulations. You have to know what they are, and you have to know like the best practice. So then you can kind of transcend that and go beyond it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know obviously Francesca, and I think that her she's a very smart lady.
Yeah.
And I think that her talk is going to have a ton of value.
Yes.
And I'm actually going to try to make that if I can.
Cool.
So yeah, great. Lots of fun things happening. So kids at WordCamp US. I guess there's a lot of kids attending and quite a bit of things happening for...
Yeah, so Saturday they have a session on how the WordPress community can embrace the next generation. And it's full of the next generation. So we've got Dina Butcher, who is Michelle Butcher-Jones' daughter. Emma and Sophie DeRoja, which is Topher and Kate DeRoja's children. Emily Lemma, which is Chris and Melissa Lemma's.
Yeah, Emily did a talk at, was it OC or... I think it was OC. We were busy filming Cami Chaos, and she was just starting a talk in the background, if I'm not mistaken, but...
Yeah, she spoke at Sacramento, too, as did
Wow.
Natalie Bourne, which is Jennifer and Brian's daughter.
Oh, wow.
Who is also...
The next generation coming up.
These kids are amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see so many kids who are not only, getting started with WordPress, but these kids are going to become the leaders, like in 10 years from now.
Yeah.
These kids will be like the ones that everybody
Yeah.
else is learning from. We are probably going to learn from these kids someday.
I agree. Yeah.
They're pretty amazing. There's also a kids camp, where kids can come and basically get started with WordPress. They could get their first WordPress site going, get some ideas on how to publish, and get started. Also, the Nathan Ingram is going to be in there as well, and he is just
looking forward to seeing Nathan. He's a smart guy.
And just heart. He is just like...
Totally, yeah. We had such a great chat. I think it was at OC as well
Yeah.
that I chatted with Nathan, and he's such a great guy.
He really is. He's amazing. And Olivia Bissett, who is David and Peta Bissett's daughter. And she, I think it's Lemonade Code Girl or something like that is her Twitter handle.
Nice.
And she's learning coding.
Wow.
Not just using WordPress and publishing, but actually the code that goes behind it. And these kids are just so amazing. They give me hope for the future when everybody's like complaining about, the millennial generation.
Well, I think the millennials are like in their 20s now, right? So this is, what is the next tranche of people coming?
I don't know, but there's some amazing kids out there, and so everybody who's like complaining about kids and get off my lawn and everything, may have said that a few times, but these kids are going to be just amazing, and there's also going to be
onto the lawn.
Yes, come onto the lawn and code my WordPress.
Make the lawn yours. But it's really cool because it gives one the sense that WordPress has staying power for decades and potentially centuries. I mean. It's crazy to think, but PHP is continuing to evolve. We've seen PHP move into PHP 7. It is still very much the glue of the web. There's all the sort of cool kid languages that are out there, but PHP is, and of course WordPress is expanding into JavaScript, right? and then to see the younger generation get involved, and they're going to sort of be in their 20s and eventually 30s, 40s, 50s as we move on to the happy hunting ground.
Yeah.
And I mean, it gives you the sense that this platform is going to be around for a very, very long time. It's not
It is.
something that's there for 5 years and then the next cool thing comes along. It's potentially going to be around for a long time.
And the other cool thing about WordPress is the community. And so many kids are, it's tough being a kid. It's tough being a teenager. It's tough being the nerdy kid at school, even though like nerds are, ruling everything these days. This community gives kids and gives us a place to develop friendships, lifetime friendships.
For sure. Yeah.
And so that community basis that WordPress offers that you can't really find anywhere else, gives kids a place not only a safe place for them to develop their skills and make connections, but a place for them to really call home and feel supported in what they're going out in the world to achieve. So I think it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool. I speaking about community, there's this thought that I had, and this isn't on our script or anything, but I've mentioned this to you before. People talk about forking WordPress, and it's really the community is WordPress. And so if you were going to fork WordPress, you would have to fork the community. I mean, that's what powers the whole platform and everything else, you know. And so the community is just such an integral part. It is what WordPress is. It's not just a piece of code. It's really the people behind it.
Yeah, I think we might have made a movie about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's already been done. So check. That guy did it behind the camera,
Really
directed
made
it,
yeah.
and we will be chatting about that on Saturday night at what time does the party start? 7:30.
7:30. Yeah. So the open movie, which we've talked about. I'm just going to jump, since it's contextually here. The open movie called The Community Code, Open the Community Code, that we filmed at 4 different WordCamps. We did 37 different interviews, and all of this data, basically.
You can't talk about his movie while he's standing behind the camera. Sean. Come here. Seriously. We'll break the fourth wall.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Take a seat.
Oh, boy. I'm not this too.
And by the way, guys who make film hate when they have to do this and actually get in front of the camera.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
This is what you want, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I'm probably like horribly out of the shot right now, but I tell you what, I'm gonna step aside here for a second and chat with this gentleman. So, you looking forward to the party?
I'm really looking forward to the party. Yeah, I'm really excited. Just that you guys even are putting this together, so it's really rewarding for me. It's been a year now, more than a year since we started filming this.
Yeah.
So it's,
because we were at Nashville, and it was you, me, Andrew, and Kathy, and some of the other team members, and that is the moment the film bug bit me in a huge way, because I remember we were sitting there in the library in the hotel.
Yep.
And we were having this, we were about to interview Matt. Oh, I'm like spoiling the... Actually, he's in the trailer.
He's in the trailer, so...
So we were about to interview Matt, and we were kind of like chatting about that, and we were all so excited, and I was like, oh yeah, this is totally what I want to do.
Yeah, and you stuck around.
And you've been a huge inspiration for me, and of course you've won an award since then.
Yeah.
Was that at Colorado Film Festival?
It was, it was a tiny film festival, Horsetooth Film Festival, but yeah, it was nice. And I was on a completely different project.
Yeah, it was Beyond Karma.
Beyond Karma.
And so you directed that,
Yep.
and that was based in India.
India, that was my first film. So,
do you want to tell us what that was about?
Basic context is, when you become a widow in India or in that region, you're essentially ostracized from society, and you believe it yourself. You ostracize yourself, and a lot of these women strip themselves of color and wear white saris for the rest of their lives, and in hopes of being saved in their next life. And so this is something I had never even heard of, and when the producer came to me and said, let's make this film, I was obviously on board. So it's a really moving film. I haven't even shown you guys the film yet. So.
Yeah, so I've seen the trailer, and you and I
yeah.
chatted about some of the cinematography in that, which is pretty epic.
Yeah.
And one of your favorite scenes in that, which was this guy dancing with the smoke.
Yeah, there was, we found I think he was on opium or something. But I mean, if you want to find a good character who's going to dance in front of your camera for an hour, he's great. So, it works. Yeah,
epic.
so-
So you're going to be at the party on Saturday night, doing a Q&A, and what time is that going to be starting roughly?
The party starts at 7:30.
Yeah, the Q&A.
The Q&A is going to be, say, 9:30,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
we'll show the film first.
Okay. And we've got Liat there.
Liat, yes,
and
our
she actually
music.
scored the film.
Yeah.
She was a friend of Sean and Andrews, and we worked with her to score it, and she's going to be. Can I say?
Yes.
She's going to be performing live at this party.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm looking forward to
And
it.
she's so awesome, and she's bringing a friend from New Jersey, a guitarist, to perform with her. So that's going to be so epic.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
And
So.
Andrew's going to be there.
You will have the whole
I don't know
team.
if he's in town yet, but
He flies in tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So that's going to be cool.
All right, you want to kick me out of here?
No. Well, yeah. We'll wrap up.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. What else we got to chat about.
We should probably mention State of the Word.
All right. Okay.
Just a little
All right.
bit.
We'll let you go now because I know
Thank
how
you.
much you'd love to be in front of the camera. Thanks. All right. I owe you one. I owe you a beer for that because that was totally impromptu. But yeah. So.
State of the Word.
Well, hold on. We gotta some other stuff over
Oh.
here. We've covered the kids.
Yeah.
Like totally off script now.
Yeah. We're all over the
Responsible
place.
tracking.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of an
so
interesting.
Catherine White's
Catherine
talk.
White, yeah, she's going to be talking about responsible tracking. As marketers and people who are running a WordPress website, you want to know who's visiting your site. You want to know if they're extracting value from the content that you're providing. And in order to do that, you have to track what's getting looked at for how long and where people are coming from. And where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line on what information you're gleaning from the people that are visiting your site?
For
So
sure.
I thought this would be an interesting session for people to take a look at, to look at what you're tracking from your users responsibly so that you're getting what you need but not overstepping some of these creepy privacy laws creepy privacy practices that some marketers do that are sort of creating the advent of all these laws like GDPR and the California privacy law. So.
Not going to talk about Facebook at all.
Nope, see?
Not even going to talk about it. So David Bissett's coordinating the unconference.
The unconference, yeah. So we don't know what's going to happen because there's no real schedule for this.
That's awesome. I got to catch that.
But I'm hoping we have a speaker involved. I know that one of us is maybe pitching a talk.
Chloe. Yeah.
We'll see. If it happens, we will definitely let you know on social media. So watch the Word Fence account for that.
Yeah, and actually Chloe's going to be at our booth, I think.
Oh, totally.
So-
Chloe's going to be all over the place. Chloe's coming
Yeah.
to all the parties with me.
Yeah,
She's my
so
new
Chloe
BFF.
is brilliant. She's one of our most credentialed team members, and she literally just became old enough to drink.
Yeah.
Not that I'm encouraging drinking or anything, but Chloe is absolutely brilliant, and she'll be at our booth, and she's done a few talks now at WordCamps, and they were pretty epic. And hopefully she'll be at the unconference. But if folks want to attend that, how do they find out about it?
It's on the schedule. It's going to be taking
Okay.
place later in the day on Saturday, I believe. So
Mm-hmm.
it is on the schedule, and I'm sure David Bissett is organizing it. He is also a prolific tweeter. You should probably be following him if you want to know anything about WordPress. He's always got great news, so I'm sure he will tweet out what's happening with the unconference. But we'll be watching that as well too.
Yeah, and then Matt's doing the State of the Word. Is that 4 p.m. on Saturday?
4 p.m. Saturday Central Time. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, if you're coming to WordCamp US,
Yeah. Definitely
State
try
of
to
the
catch
Word.
State of the Word, and
Yeah.
Matt always does a pretty good job.
Matt is an amazing
Dresses
speaker.
very sharp,
and he's an amazing speaker.
and he's an amazing speaker. And he kind of like hangs out at the various booths and so on as well. I mean, he
Yeah.
actually it was last year in Nashville where he came by and we were doing lockpicking
yeah,
demos.
we're just like all lock picking, and then Matt comes up, picks up a lock, and boom,
and
it's
like picks it, yeah.
in
He's like,
2
oh, yeah,
seconds.
I know how to pick locks, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
But he's a hacker, right?
Totally
sort of
a
hacker mentality.
Yep. So
yeah.
if you want to know more about how Matt Mullenweg thinks, hacker mindset, yeah. we'll talk.
Yeah. So definitely catch that. And then I think we've covered the party in some depth.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So again, Sean Corbetts will be there, who you just saw on camera if you're, or heard if you're listening on the on the audio version of this podcast. And then Andrew Rodriguez will be there. Andrew's the producer of the Open documentary. And you and I will be there.
Yes,
I think doing the Q&A as well.
Yes.
Kathy and I exec produced
and Carrie will be there too.
Oh, well, Carrie, I think, will be in the audience.
Yeah, but she will be there.
She will be there, yeah.
Yeah.
And
the powerhouse behind WordFence.
Yeah, she sure is. And she was also kind of instrumental in the film as well. And there's a little hidden message in the credits of that film. Do you know about that?
I can't remember.
Okay, well, we'll chat about that in the Q&A on Saturday. Okay. I'm just going to tease that. But yeah, nothing like sinister or anything like that. But Sean, actually, that was his idea. So there's just a little something in there for a certain someone who made a big contribution. So I think that's about it.
That is about
From
it.
St. Louis. WordCamp US 2019.
So much excitement.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty crazy. We'll get some interviews while we're here. Chat to some of the folks we mentioned in the show and some new friends as well. And it is insane. So I'm really glad that you were able to make it because I know that you've had a crazy busy day. And, you're probably literally going to sprint out of this room as we wrap up.
I am.
Okay, all right. So let me wrap it up then.
I think some people are waiting for me. So.
All right. So that's it. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely like and subscribe. If you're listening on iTunes, then give us a review. It helps us get the word out there. And that's it from this episode. I think next week we'll probably be back at our regular haunts. And we might even have an interview or two for you next week. But I think Max is also going to sprint out of here and edit this and try to get it online tonight. So thanks for watching. Have a wonderful WordCamp US if you are here. And if you're not, you can live vicariously through Twitter and through the live feed, which we'll post on the show notes. Have a wonderful day, wonderful week. Bye, everyone.